Yo, everybody, your boy Joseph here.
And Carlos.
And this is
The Passenger Seat. All right.
Episode 3.
Book 3.
Book 3.
Fire.
For the Avatar. All right, so this is the
Continuation,
but it's also the final book of this
Avatar, The Last Airbender. Yes.
And woo, man, this last season is obviously probably the best season. Would you call it the best season? Or would you call season 2 the best season? I don't know.
I honestly would put it as book 3, book 1, and then book 2.
Really?
That's for me.
Okay.
Book 1 plays so much into it of introducing everyone, but book 3, yes, I definitely say it's the best season of Avatar: Last Airbender.
So in book 3, Book of Fire, we have Aang, who was obviously shot down by Azula, and managed to escape. And he finds himself waking up on a Fire Nation ship.
You got hurt pretty bad.
And he has hair.
And he has hair.
He has hair.
So he always had hair, apparently.
Yeah,
he's a monk.
He's a monk. He just shaves it off.
So I guess, yes, they take over the Fire Nation ship with help from Sokka and Katara's dad, actually.
Bato.
Katara's upset with him because he wasn't around when the Fire Nation attacked their village.
Yeah. But basically, he finds himself on a overtaken Fire Nation ship, and they're gonna infiltrate the Fire Nation.
Yes.
Because they're trying to do the plan, right?
Yeah,
to take over.
Because for their advantage, the Fire Nation think that Aang is dead. For them, because Azula, being the cunning witch, because I don't want to say the word that she is, she tells the Fire Lord that Zuko killed the Avatar, because if the Avatar is ever alive, he's gonna blame it on Zuko and not her. So that was a move.
Yeah, she's one of those really cunning villains. But yeah, so knowing that the Fire Nation thinks that the Avatar is dead, they take the advantage to try to implement a plan to take over the Fire Nation and overthrow Fire Lord Ozai.
From book 2, where they discovered that the Fire Nation is weak.
During the eclipse. So they're gonna try to use the day of the Black Sun.
Yes.
To take control. And they still have the Avatar. So that's the plan. They say, okay, we still got Aang, so we're gonna put him in there. So they go into the Fire Nation. They
spend their days planning, essentially, because they have to wait for the Black Sun. It doesn't just happen right away.
Aang ends up going to a Fire Nation school.
It was interesting.
It's interesting, those little side stories. And you have them, the gang, pretty much doing these things in the Fire Nation.
And during this, while they're doing things in the Fire Nation, Zuko himself is fearful because Azula made him afraid that the Avatar might still be alive. So he hires an infamous hitman, which I guess never really has a name. Everyone sort of makes up the name.
Yeah, Sokka ends up calling him Combustion Man.
Not Sparky Boom Man?
Combustion Man.
So, after that, Combustion Man actually finds them in the Fire Nation and almost tries to kill them.
Yeah.
I think they have to escape.
They go to the Western Air Temple.
Oh, my God. You know what? Before we get to the Western Air Temple, very, very important, is Sokka's story.
Yes. They develop Sokka into, because he's a non-bender. So, essentially...
They touched upon that topic. Because they just, he's been ignored for the series.
And so they have him learn how to wield a blade and how to be a proper swordsman.
From Fire Nation swordsman / what do you call it? Blacksmith. Yeah. Which really good episode, honestly.
Yeah. He forges his blade out of a meteorite, and
And by the end, essentially, he does find out that he is Water Tribe. But the swordsman doesn't care because it's all about the sword to him, not about the nations. And at the end, very important because we'll touch upon that, he hands Sokka a White Lotus tile.
Pai Cho.
It's
sort of like almost like a checkers game.
Yeah, sort of. Something they made up in the Avatar world, but it plays a very important role.
Isn't Pai Cho a real thing?
Oh, Is it?
I think Pai Cho's a real thing.
I'm sorry if I'm culturally ignorant.
Yeah, no, I think Pai Cho's a real thing. Pai Cho is indeed a real thing.
Okay, sorry about that.
Okay. Anyways, so anyways, he's handed the White Lotus tile, which we'll get into. And we see in a couple other instances in the show, in the previous books, because we saw it a couple of times in
so we just didn't have time to mention it, essentially.
Right. Iroh is usually talking about Pai Cho.
And his favorite tile is the White Lotus.
Another
episode, very important, and we talked about it in our last book, and we talked about the subcategories of bending. This episode gave me freaking chills when I was a little kid, okay?
Yes, we're talking about the Puppet Master.
The Puppet Master. So they're in the Fire Nation, and I think they're in a little village, because it's not the actual, like, kingdom.
I think they were in the forest or something. They were just camping out, telling scary stories.
Yeah. So they run into a little town, and in the town, they have this, basically, a bunch of people are, like, disappearing, and they don't know what the cause of it is. And, they run into, like, firebenders?
No, they were in the forest telling scary stories, and out comes the little old lady.
Oh, she just comes out of nowhere, right? She doesn't save them or anything. She just comes out of nowhere. Yep, the old lady.
And this old lady invites him into her home. And she treats him super nice. They feel like there's something weird going on.
Yes.
So they decide to rummage around her house without her permission
to discover a water tribe headband.
Like a comb.
Like a comb, yeah.
And basically, they find out she's water tribe, and she pretty much wants to teach Katara a very, it's sort of like a taboo form of bending for the waterbenders, and it's blood bending.
Blood bending. Yeah. So essentially, when Katara tries it, it just feels wrong. It feels wrong to her, and it's like it's so savage, that form of bending, because you basically take over a person's body.
And she explains that they're only able to use it at the full moon.
At the full moon,
when their power is the greatest, at their greatest peak. And it's very dark. It's a very dark.
Again, loving the subcategories though. It just shows you how, like, if you control an element, you just don't control just water. You know what I mean? You control plants inside water inside the plants, and a bunch of other stuff. It's just really good. That was an episode I definitely want to touch upon.
Yeah. So. Then you have a couple of other side stories, more with like Zuko and
and his sister
and friends, and basically he slowly, like, more and more we're coming to terms with, like, okay, this isn't right. This isn't me.
So, speaking of that, we'll touch upon a very important episode. Not the end, but a very important episode, and that is the Day of the Black Sun.
The Day of the Black Sun.
Because that's when Zuko plays a very, very important role.
Well, it's not that one yet, right?
Where Zuko...
Oh, when they try to take over.
Yeah, that's the Day of the Black Sun.
Right. So, they, the people, or all these other tribes trying to carry out the mission.
Yeah.
To overthrow the Fire Nation. They take it, they finally take the initiative on the day of the eclipse. They raid the Fire Nation.
The Fire Nation Kingdom,
and when they get there, there's nobody.
Yep.
There's nobody. And it's because I guess they had gotten wind of...
I think someone did. I just don't remember.
Azula got wind of the plan, because when she took over the Earth Kingdom,
yes,
she actually overheard the plan to take over the Fire Nation. So they were already prepared. So when they got there, everyone had just like disappeared, gone into hiding until the eclipse was over.
And during this, the one that they are protecting, obviously, the one who's actually in hiding is the Fire Lord, protected by soldiers and Azula. But I think there was like 2 doors, and they went into the wrong one. Aang and the group, and they were fighting Azula. But Zuko knew which one his father was, and this is the pinnacle moment of Zuko, because he basically betrays his family.
Yeah, he gets there, and basically his father is trying to welcome him in with like open arms. He's saying like, okay, come back to me. Let's defeat the Avatar together. And Zuko straight up goes, no,
not having it.
Not having it.
You treated me like crap.
Yeah, he pretty much takes up a different mantle. and he decides to go against his father. He fights his father. Fire Lord Ozai throws a lightning at him, and he uses the redirection technique, right?
Yes, he does. It was very good. Yeah. Learned from Uncle Iroh, which during this, before the Day of the Black Sun, Uncle Iroh's in jail, and Zuko's constantly visiting him, and he feels so terrible because he loves his uncle so much. He's like his father. Yeah.
Which, by the way, that episode where they finally make up, where Zuko's like, "I thought you'd hate me."
Oh yeah, that's later though. Mm-hmm. That's when he gets with the group.
Yeah. But yeah, so after leaving the Fire Nation in defeat,
they all separate. Every tribe, everybody who's helping them tries to escape and basically separate amongst themselves. And for Aang and his group to escape, they go to
it's the Western Air Temple.
The Western Air Temple. Really cool. It's like a temple. It's like upside down.
Upside down, hanging from the cliff, like stalactites. I think that's the proper term.
Yeah.
But anyways, while they're there, not only do they get confronted by Combustion Man.
Yes.
But before Combustion Man comes over and tries to destroy them, they get visited by Zuko. And Zuko, it's one of the funniest moments because Zuko's trying to figure out how to talk to him.
Yeah.
Zuko's trying to befriend them. Trying to be like, hey, I'm a different person. Which is hard for them to accept because...
all the years of him chasing them.
Not only that, but because he tried to be good once.
Yes, with Katara. Katara especially.
And he betrayed their trust. So now it was extremely hard for them to trust him. But during those couple of episodes, he goes pretty much on a journey with each one of them except Toph.
Although, when he first got there, Toph was the one who actually trusted him because with her ability from her feet, she can tell when people are lying.
Because the heartbeats. But yeah, so he basically goes on an adventure with each one of them and basically gains their trust.
Yes.
And then when Combustion Man comes to destroy them, he helps.
No, he helps before he has the adventures with them.
Oh, really?
That's how he gains their trust. Is defeating Combustion Man.
You're right.
And then afterwards, he has to basically gain their trust and respect.
Okay.
So he has one adventure with Aang, which is amazing episode because they go to the Sun Temple.
Well, we'll leave that one for later. But the last one out of the group because that's the most important.
Oh, I thought Katara's might have been the most... Okay, go ahead.
Well, Katara's up there, but the reason... Okay, anyway. So he goes with Sokka, and they go into a Fire Nation prison...
to rescue his...
father,
and which also he found out that his girlfriend's there. Suki.
So yeah, they end up having that episode, which is the whole part where he's like, yeah, my girlfriend turned into the moon.
That's rough, buddy.
That's rough.
That's one of the best lines.
Yeah.
So they go to a place called the Boiling Rock, which is essentially the toughest Fire Nation prison. I think Zuko disguises himself as a prisoner. Why Sokka is a guard, and really, it's a really good episode actually. But one of the best moments there, or one of the game-changing moments, is May.
Yeah, because she turns on Azula.
And then afterwards, Ty Lee does this, Ty Lee to protect May, she also turns on Azula.
Yeah, so that's a big part for that. But yeah, so then after that, you have the episode with Katara. And Katara's is that they find who killed her mother.
Yes. This episode was important in the sense of Katara was the one who was most betrayed by Zuko. So she really, really doesn't like him. It's very hard to gain his trust. So one thing they have in common is the loss of their mother. So he just uses Katara's rage to kind of be friends with her.
Yeah, he empathizes with her. And basically he finds her mother's killer and they go for vengeance.
But he's some run down old dude,
pathetic old dude.
Yeah, being basically talked to by his mother because he lives with his mother still.
Yeah, so I was gonna say Sokka. Zuko basically tells Katara, "You do you."
Yeah,
and I'm here for you
until she uses bloodbending on him.
And then she pretty much stops herself. She realizes that that's not her, and
that's not what her mother would have wanted. Yeah,
and she just leaves them there, and they both go back.
But they both, it's a moment for them because they connect.
And then obviously there's the part where Zuko goes with Aang
to the Sun Temple.
And it's super important because Zuko is trying to be Aang's firebending teacher.
But because in the episode it starts out with Zuko not being able to firebend because firebenders use rage for their firebend. They've been doing it for 100 years because that's the only thing they were taught.
And since he had a change of heart, now his firebending pretty much
was weak.
Yeah, because the source, which was rage, isn't there anymore. So they go to the Sun Temple, and they discover that the original
firebenders, sun people.
The original source of firebending was the sun, and there's still 2 dragons that are still alive, and they pretty much learn firebending
from dragons. Well, actually, weird enough, because if you would think if this was real life that wouldn't happen, but apparently they found the first fire ever.
Oh, the fire that never... Yeah,
they grab 2 sticks and they go up there, and both of their sticks turn out. Yeah. They got blown away anyways.
Yeah.
Really funny. So the 2 dragons come out, and this is actually where I think we learned that Uncle Iroh was the
one who kept them secret.
Who kept them secret? They thought that he killed the last dragons, but he actually kept them in secret.
Yeah, so that nobody would mess with them. So Aang finally learns firebending. Zuko gets his firebending back.
And so it's game time now.
It's game time, and now that it's now that he's all set and ready, he's ready to go up against the Fire Lord, which he has a little trouble with because he's absolutely terrified
of killing
and facing the Fire Lord.
Fire Lord Ozai is a horrible person, but he's still a human being.
Basically, he overcomes that by...
Well, essentially, out of nowhere, Aang gets in touch with like a spirit, his spiritual side. Like he wakes up in the middle of the night and basically like dips out.
Yeah.
And wakes up on an island that's moving.
Yeah. He doesn't know where he's where he's at. He's just in the middle of this island, this sort of foresty jungle or something. And when he finally gets out, it's all surrounded by water. And
yes. And he takes this opportunity to talk to each past avatar, which he just talks to 4 of them, about how he should resolve defeating the Fire Lord.
And they all say that
and Kyoshi's a beast. Yeah. Kyoshi's like, kill him!
Yeah. They all pretty much say that it'll end in violence.
Yes, they do.
And anyways, on this island that he's on, he ends up discovering that it's a lion turtle. And the lion turtle, he discovers that there are the original benders, and they gave the power of bendings to bending to humans. And in doing so, the lion turtle teaches Aang the ability
to control his avatar state, because he wasn't able to after he got shocked.
Yes, but also very importantly, he teaches him how to remove bending from people.
Yes, that's true. He does. He gives him the teaching.
Yeah, that's like the ultimate weapon for pacifism, because you don't have to kill someone to utterly make them powerless. Once he's all fully equipped and ready, then we have the big fight, the final fight.
The good one.
Yeah.
Was essentially they all gather together, they're all ready, they gather all their friends and tribes and all that stuff, and during this whole time, I guess Azula's going crazy.
Yeah, because she got the, Fire Lord Ozai thinking that he's, obviously at the top of everything right now. He goes, I'm going to become the Phoenix King or something like that, or Phoenix Emperor.
Of the whole world.
The whole world. And then,
You're the Fire Lord.
You're the Fire Lord. And then she loses it.
Yeah, she goes absolutely crazy because everybody left her, and there's this really...
Nobody respects her either.
Is this really good scene? I say it's a good scene, and that's when she is facing a mirror, and her mother appears behind her, and she smashes the mirror and begins to cry. It was just... It's a very good scene. Good storytelling.
Yeah, because it basically... shows her that her living her life the way that she did. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So before we get into the fight of, the main fight of Aang and the Fire Lord, we'll touch upon the other fights that happen. And I guess we'll start from Sokka and Toph, because theirs was basically battleship fighting.
Yeah, Toph, Sokka, and Suki.
And Suki. That's true.
They're fighting on these air balloons, Fire Nation air balloons.
Yeah.
Blimps.
That,
since their power... Oh, which is very important, we didn't mention. The Fire Nation, they're taking over because Sozin's comet is flying by. Right. Yeah. So the same way that they had the eclipse that lowered their power, the Fire Nation had planned to
raid the nations.
To raid the nations during the day of Sozin's comet, which is a comet that flies by every, I don't know how many years. And their firebending is boosted exponentially.
Wasn't it? It's 100 years.
Is it 100?
Because that's when Sozin first took over all power of all nations.
Of all nations, yeah. So, basically, yeah. So they're using the power of Sozin's comet, and in the blimps, you see the firebenders, and they're like pouring down fire.
Yeah,
on everything.
Like all the forest is just. Yeah. So it was Sokka, Suki, and Toph job to basically take out
the blimps.
The blimps, because they were basically destroying everything. That was their job in that scene. But that scene was great.
Yeah.
And they start fighting, and Toph takes over this metal armor thing. I don't know if you remember that. She's just like.
Not only that, it's very important to mention that this the bond between Toph and Sokka, because, and the reason why they're such good friends, is because there's a moment where she has nothing to stand on.
Yeah, she fell, and she's holding on by Sokka's arm.
Yeah.
And he loses his sword at that scene, which is really sad, because that was a cool sword.
But basically he asks for Toph's trust when her whole being is
black. She can't
No, she's used to being on ground.
Mm-hmm.
Not being on ground, she that's basically taking away everything from her, and she chooses to trust Sokka, which is a big step.
Mm-hmm.
So that's super important in that part.
They get saved by Suki. She comes out. She defeats a whole balloon, by the way. Suki was.
Yeah, was she worried?
Yeah, she's badass. Jumping on, I guess, to the Katara, Zuko, and Azula. God, that's a good fight too.
Yeah. Obviously, you have Zuko with his newfound power of or origin of where his power comes from, and then his flames being the passionate, burning hot fire red,
and hers is
Azula's blue
rage.
Yeah. That fight was pretty intense.
I think she was on the brink of insanity in that fight. So
yeah.
Azula was
losing it.
Messed up. She was losing it. So essentially, Azula, being the witch that she is, she decides to throw a lightning bolt, but not at Zuko, even though Zuko asks for what do you call type fights that they ask for?
Oh, a single flag, a duel.
They have a name for it in the Avatar world, though. I guess we'll just skip past that.
Something...
Agni Kai.
Yes.
Zuko asked her for an Agni Kai specifically to fight her alone. But Azula, being the person that she is, decides to throw a lightning bolt at Katara instead. So Zuko had to step in the way and basically got hit by
He didn't have to.
Well,
he decided
to. Sorry.
He decides to take the hit for Katara.
And then Katara has to fight her.
Mm-hmm.
Which is awesome. Awesome fight.
And I think that's what solidifies the trust.
Mm-hmm.
When he takes that shot, that's when Zuko is fully committed to.
Yeah. Essentially, she beats her and leaves her there chained up. She's going crazy with fire breath out of her mouth.
Yeah.
It was insane. Oh, shoot, very important, because we said we were going to mention it later. The White Lotus.
That's very true. That's true. So after this, I guess. So basically Zuko and Katara beat Azula. And then there's another very important part, which is the Order of the White Lotus.
Yes.
Which is a group of people who are neutral Doesn't matter what nation they're from.
They're there to only serve the Avatar, I think it was.
Yeah, and they are a group of the most powerful benders.
Yes.
In the world.
That's that scene you were talking about. Very important scene where Zuko meets up with Uncle Iroh again in the White Lotus camp.
Right, and he gets forgiveness.
Yeah, that's actually a really sad scene.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
It's a very heartwarming scene. But yeah, in the Order of the White Lotus, you have Jiang, Boomy,
the swordsman,
Paku, and Iroh.
And when they come in to help fight the Fire Nation, they just start. I remember Uncle Iroh, he was like
he starts breathing.
Yeah. So good, man. Because then, what was it? John was like flying like Iron Man. Like,
yeah, dude. Cool. So cool.
Oh, man, that was good. So, yeah, I guess we'll just hop onto the final fight, most important fight of the whole series, which is Aang versus the Fire Lord.
Mm-hmm. That fight is insane. It
was good.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
They're just...
Oh, yeah, you're right. The sea turtle did not activate his avatar state.
You give him the...
Just give him the thingy. Yeah. What activated his avatar state was
him hitting the rock.
Was him pushing him against the rock, and it hit that one zone where he got the lightning strike.
Right. So, anyways, there's a point where he's fighting the Fire Lord, and he's doing okay.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the avatar state.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Fire Lord pretty much puts him up against a rock, and the rock has a jag.
Yes.
And the jag is placed right in the center of his back where he got shot by Azula with lightning. And basically when he gets pushed on that rock, it hits him.
Yes.
And it just activates the avatar
And he's like looking, checking if Aang is still alive, and Aang just... Whoop.
Yeah, because Aang is buried under rubble.
Yeah, rubble.
And when Ozai gets close, he comes up and grabs him by the
goatee
and pulls him down, dude.
And then after that, Ozai is just... He gets wrecked.
He gets pummeled, yeah. He gets destroyed.
Because then Aang comes out, really, really good animation in this, and he has this air orb around him with sides of rock, sides of water, and I think
the Ring of Fire.
The Ring of Fire.
And he just decimates the Fire Lord Ozai. And then at the very end of it, he gets there, gets out of the Avatar state.
And Ozai tells him to kill him.
Which obviously he doesn't do. And he uses that new ability to take away his bending. There is a slight moment where it's basically a battle of wills.
Mm-hmm.
And Fire Lord Ozai was almost taking over. And then Aang, obviously.
Yep. Takes away his fire bending ability and basically just leaves him there. It's like, you're not a threat anymore.
What did you do to me?
I took away your fire bending. You can't use it to hurt or threaten anyone else ever again.
Yeah.
And that probably was, that was probably the worst thing to happen to him. Like, the Fire Lord probably felt like, I'd rather be dead than you to take away my fire bending ability.
Yep. But it's also, it also speaks a lot about how great this series is, because instead of being like, I killed the bad guy, defeated the bad guy, you literally, you stayed true to who Aang is and what he stands for.
Yeah, and that was really good. Good ending to the series.
You have the obviously the last scene where it's them announcing peace between the nations.
And yeah,
you have the new Fire Lord,
which is Zuko, and he has May beside him.
Yeah, and then you have Aang and Katara.
Yes, they finally.
Yeah,
I think they finally kiss.
Yeah, they finally kiss.
They finally kiss, or maybe I think they kissed in the tunnel, but they never showed it.
This one was like, them actually, both of them,
yes,
actually accepting
with consent.
Oh my God, them both actually, giving into that love interest. And yeah, that's how the series ends.
Overall, fantastic series. If you guys have not seen this series, I recommend it so hard. Go on Netflix. It's there.
Binge it.
Once you watch it, you're gonna binge it. That's the thing. Like, you can't just stop.
Yeah.
And that's it. But I love this series so much. The story, the characters, the whole idea of it, it just makes it a great series overall.
Just a great concept. Make sure to like, comment down below whatever part of book 3 that you really enjoyed or something that we missed.
And if you guys, comment down below if you guys want us to do the Legend of Korra, which is also a really good series.
It is a really good series. But yeah, let us know, please. Let us know if you enjoyed this series of videos with the Avatar, and hopefully we can do something like this in the future.
With other series.
Yeah. So thank you for joining us in this ride. Hopefully you enjoyed it, and hopefully you'll join us next time here in
The Passenger Seat.